Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Oxygen Not Included. We're back with the Impenetrable Gang. It's cycle 132, and today the first thing that we need to work on is oxygen. You'll see the base as a whole is a little light on oxygen, and of course by oxygen I mean algae. Our oxygen diffusers here do not have enough algae to work, hence the lack of oxygen in the base. And so the very first thing that we're going to do is instruct our duplicants to re-enable all of these algae distillers so that we can start turning all of our slime back into algae and hopefully get our base back to the point where we have enough oxygen to keep everybody happy. I think oxygen is really the main thing that's causing our stress to be so high right now. It's really only Mima that has that super high stress level, and you'll see right now she's complaining about hunger, soggy feet, and also low oxygen. Now, I'm not too sure. We have quite a lot of duplicants who are complaining about soggy feet, and I actually don't know where the water is, because I'm fairly certain they don't get soggy feet when they do this. I don't think that's the case. There is a little tiny bit of water here that we could go ahead and mop up, but I really don't know where the water that they're standing in is right now. But nevertheless, we will continue on with our journey. We do have a new duplicate to choose from, and I'm also kind of getting to the point where I'm considering getting a 9th and maybe even a 10th duplicate as well. But for now, we will definitely take the 500 kilograms of algae. I wonder if that's like programmed in, like if you're getting low on algae, the game offers you some, or if that's just a random chance thing that we got right there. Either way, I am happy to have it, of course. And so in the last episode, we did, of course, set up the gas range here to make infinite stuffed berries. And so now, whenever we get enough bristle blossom and enough pinch of pepper, Frankie should come on over here and start making stuffed berries for our duplicants. And I think right now, these stuffed berries are pretty much all that our duplicants are eating. I'm fairly certain that May here will... Oh, excuse me, she just ate something that was not a stuffed berry. Oh, did she eat meat? She might have just eaten some meat. We did kill a couple of shine bugs earlier, and I think we have killed some other creatures throughout the playthrough, and so we do have a little bit of meat in storage there. That might have been what she just ate there, but we also have new skills available. Hassan here is available to, I guess, get improved carrying. We'll do that. And then Nicola doesn't have much going on right now. He's really good at construction. I think I'm going to give him hard digging, because one of the things that I do want to start working towards now, and I mentioned it a little bit in a previous episode, is moving our Atmo suits over to this side of the base here. And if we're going to do that, we need to dig through this abyssalite. The abyssalite, of course, requiring that hard dig trait. But first things first, let's go ahead and deconstruct these guys here. We no longer need the Atmo suits, especially for doing tasks like this. These are not Atmo suit tasks. I mean, this one is, and people in the comment section did tell me why my duplicates keep going down to disinfect this one single tile. And the reason for that is that our duplicates are set to automatically disinfect anything that has over 10,000 germs, as you can see on the right-hand side here. And because this block of slime has over 1 million germs, that's so many germs, it's pushing those germs over to the tile, and this tile is regularly crossing that 10,000 germ milestone, and when it does, our duplicates run down and they disinfect it. Now, I'm going to leave this as it is for now, and I'm going to go with my original plan, which was to put down a airlock right about here. And as soon as we have everything that we want down here, I'm just going to lock this airlock, at least until we need to come back down and access things again. You can see there's so much time is spent coming down here. But if we build a door and if we lock it off, hopefully our duplicates will stop coming down here. I don't really want to increase the disinfect threshold, just in case something in our base jumps over that 10,000 germ mark. I really would like them to get rid of that where possible. We will go ahead and mop up this over here. And whilst we're at it, I would also like to delete these farm tiles right here. I do want to specify buildings. I would very much so prefer it if they didn't delete the fluid pipe underneath there. But essentially, I'm thinking we get rid of this waterlock here. It's no longer necessary. And I'm thinking of moving the checkpoint over to the left so that they only put on the Atmo suit if they're going into this Draco farm over here, because other than that, they don't really need it for this area. The room with the fertilizer in is doing just fine. The oxygen is very breathable. And then this area over here, whilst a little bit slime lung infected, is also doing fine on the oxygen front. And as more clean oxygen gets in here, that slime lung should slowly die off. That's the plan, at least. And so for now, I'm going to put down a few more tiles along here. And then once those tiles are built, I will delete these 2 tiles. That will cause this water to flow out, at which point we'll mop it all up and everything should be good to go. But that is not the main thing that I want to work on in today's episode. The main thing that I want to work on today is our oxygen setup. And real quick, I'm going to go ahead and enable this this pump here because we do have quite a bit of space in this this tank now. But as of right now, our current oxygen setup involves these two diffusers right here, and that is pretty much the entirety of our oxygen setup. We do have a few algae terrariums down here which are not receiving algae, at least not at the moment, and occasionally we have been putting down a couple of extra diffusers around the base to kind of increase the oxygen in certain areas. But I've been thinking about how much time it takes our duplicants to go and get the algae, give it to the diffusers, and then, you know, that's a lot of walking backwards and forwards. And right now the oxygen diffusers are kind of just in the middle top of the base. They're not doing a great job up here. I think that's mostly due to the lack of airflow tiles, but I think there's a better way we can do this, and I think that we can do this whilst also potentially cooling down our base just a little bit. So what I'm thinking here is if we delete one of these tiles and we dig out essentially everything down here apart from this very last block, because I would love to keep our nature reserve here intact. And my plan is to put all of our oxygen diffusers into one room so that what we can do is have all of our algae created by our algae distillers and then have all of that sent automatically via our auto sweeper and our conveyors into a room that has a storage container that is right next to the diffusers, so that when our duplicants need to put the algae into the diffusers, it's right there. It's right next to the diffuser, and they don't have to run backwards and forwards throughout the base to get what they are after. Hopefully, that will decrease the amount of travel time required for getting oxygen into the base. And then on top of that, in the last episode, we unlocked this guy right here, the thermoregulator. Cools gas piped through it, but outputs heat into the immediate vicinity. And so what I'm thinking is if we get all of our oxygen produced in one place and have it all pump out into one room, and then we get a gas pump to collect all of that oxygen. Of course, it's going to go through a gas filter, have all of the oxygen only go through the thermoregulator, cool it right down, and then pump it out round the base. That's going to hopefully solve two of our problems at once. It's going to allow us to get oxygen more evenly spread out throughout the base, and hopefully also bring the temperature down just a little bit, because it is getting kind of hot in the base here, especially around the center. We're getting like very, very close to 30 degrees Celsius, which is a little too hot. It's not quite too hot for our duplicants yet, but I think they are going to prefer things a little bit cooler. Stress is very, very high right now. Mima, why are you so very stressed? It's the allergic reaction. Why is that? I'm actually not sure. She shouldn't be. I'm fairly certain she's not allowed in either of these rooms here. Let me make sure. We'll go ahead and we'll lock her out of this room as well. We'll just say you can't go in here. She already can't go. Oh, no, she can. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off as well. We'll say you can't go in there either, because she shouldn't be in here no matter what, because she is allergic to all of that. I don't think we have any more floral scent around the base. We don't. And so hopefully that stress is going to come down fairly quickly here. I would love for these ladders and this digging over here to be a slightly higher priority. And I think what I'm probably going to do is just set up another room down here. So we'll have something that looks a little bit like this. We'll, of course, have floors that look like this, just to stay in theme with the rest of the base. And I think we're going to put our thermoregulator down on this bottom floor here. Of course, as it said in the tooltip, it does output heat to the surrounding area. And so where possible, we want to keep it as far away from the area that we want to cool down as possible. And on top of that, we are no longer really needing all of this mealwood here. And so I am going to go ahead and schedule the uprooting of pretty much all of this. I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up, because I'm fairly certain that these few down here are pretty close to not being able to grow. As soon as we get to 30 degrees, these are going to be too hot and won't be able to grow here. And so I'll leave a few of these for now, just in case we have a food emergency and we can no longer make the stuffed berries. I would like to have a little bit of mealwood, but other than that, we can get rid of the rest of this here. Right now, our duplicants are spending way too much time harvesting all this mealwood when we don't need it. They're hopefully going to be eating the stuffed berries. We've got over 10,000 kilocalories of stuffed berries all ready to go. And so hopefully they're going to eat those going forward. And hopefully we're going to be producing enough to sustainably feed them that going forward as well. And I'm thinking about having our duplicants potentially go through the nature reserve to get to this room here instead of going in through the roof here. If I dig a hole in the roof, though, this is gonna lose its nature reserve status, because obviously the room is gonna get too big at some point. But I think if we put a door here, and it's gonna look a little bizarre, if we put a door there and we have a ladder like this, I think that will still count this as a nature reserve. And as our duplicates walk through it, they get a +6 to morale, which is huge. It's going to be a huge boost to the morale of our duplicates here. Stinky not having a great time. That does remind me, we should have somebody come over and lock this door, please. I'm going to make that a priority 9 so that hopefully nobody else goes down to disinfect these lockers here. That would be grand. We can also now get rid of this and start to mop that up. We'll also get rid of these ladders as well once that's done. But for now, we'll just make sure we get rid of the water. And like I said, we are going to have one exosuit here, but I don't think we need more than one person in this area at any given time. And so one exosuit, I think, should be more than enough. I'm also going to make these dig tasks just a little bit higher because this is where I actually want all of our machines to go. And I think we can probably also get away with moving this door back a little bit. If we do something like this and make a standard room like we've done before, I think we can also move this door back over to here and just make more of this room into a nature reserve. I think that will work. I would also like to oh, they can't get over there. That's why that's not been done. Let me throw down a ladder up here as well, just so our duplicants can get in and turn that pump on. And then whilst we're at it, I'd also like to try and kind of build up the rest of this area as well, just so it's available to build in should we want to in the future. I'm not going to bump up the priority of this super high, but I'd love for them to dig out pretty much all of this stuff over here. And then eventually we, of course, will have, I think that's fluorescent, right? Oh, no, there's no fluorescent in there. That's fine. And we, of course, will have more tiles coming across like this. And I kind of just want to block this off. So I want this to go like all the way along to here. And then eventually we'll have this kind of come down. I'd have to count the numbers though to see where this comes down. For now, I just want this area kind of clear of slime so that we can hopefully kind of get rid of the slime lung and make this kind of just into a bit of the base like this area over here is. Speaking of our base though, duplicate wise, we've got Bert who is ready for yet another skill. Everybody's doing super well on morale now. I'm not quite sure what happened. May's got 38 out of 13 morale. That is insane. But even someone like Stinky with 29 out of 16 and Mima with 26 out of 14, who just a few episodes back was not doing anywhere near as well. And then Nicola with 29 out of 7. That is crazy. But Bert here, we'll go with hard digging again. I would like people to be able to dig just that little bit faster. And speaking of morale, I still do want to put more artwork around the base. I want to try and make the base just better decor-wise all around. And so I think I will go ahead and throw down like a few paintings maybe. You know, something like this and maybe one. Oh, we can't quite fit the middle of the room there. Do I want to put 2 more in? Sure, I'll put 4 in there like that. That's going to make that room a little bit nicer when they go into deposit things. People also did mention that we could put down some sculptures around like here and here to try and make like these ladder areas a little nicer because our duplicants do spend a fair bit of time moving up and down. And as soon as we get rid of all of the mealwood, we could also put some more paintings or sculptures in the middle here as well. I think that would work and look quite nice. Let's go ahead and mop this up. There is too much liquid on this side, but as the liquid flows over, it should move over and it should become moppable. Over here, I want to have probably like 2 or 3 diffusers. What are we out of? We're metal ore. Oh my goodness. We are completely out of copper. Let's go ahead and like schedule a few digs up here. I'll make those like priority 8 for the time being. People did also point out that there is a high priority, like a top priority at the end of the priority list here, which I actually didn't know about until before today's episode. And this one will override all other priorities and set the colony to a yellow alert until an errand is complete. So we can select like this sculpture and say, everybody stop what you're doing, no matter what, this sculpture needs to be built. Obviously, we wouldn't do it for a sculpture, that would be ridiculous, but multiple times over the last 2 episodes, there have been things that I really wanted to be done, and our duplicants have kind of just not done them. So I'll bear that in mind for future use here. Our duplicants are going to get soggy feet and sopping wet as they go through here. That's kind of unavoidable until we get the exosuits back online. But nevertheless, hopefully we've got what it takes to make another diffuser here. We do. So I'll throw it down there. We'll put a gas pump right about here, directly on top of that. We do need to run power over to this area. Thankfully, there is power already right next door, which is fantastic. I am going to block off this top tile here and see if our duplicants can use this door, or will use this door, I should say. We'll set this to a slightly higher priority, just so they come and, you know, get the job done. Same's true for all of these buildings here. And then, of course, we do need to put down the thermoregulator, which for now, we'll throw down right about there. We're going to have all of the gas come straight out of here, and then of course it does have to go into a filter to make sure that we don't get anything that is not oxygen, but all of the oxygen is going to go down like so and then come out. And I think for now I probably want to pipe this quite high up, mostly because like this is the area of the base that our duplicants spend quite a bit of time if they're doing research or if they're sleeping or using the bathroom. And so I think I might just put the gas vent where our current diffusers are. If I put them like here and here, we don't need 2, but I'm a sucker for symmetry, so I'm going to go with 2 for now. And so if we do something like this, we are going to need a gas bridge here to get over. Actually, I'm going to delete this pipe. I think I talked about this last episode. I'm not quite sure what this pipe's for. It is going to release a tiny little bit of hydrogen and chlorine into the base, but that's fine. The hydrogen will just rise to the top and the chlorine will just sink down to the bottom. It's nowhere near enough of either gas to cause an issue base-wide. And we do have a new duplicant available. I will take another snazzy suit. Whilst I do want to take more duplicants, I'm kind of hesitant, at least until we've had a couple of cycles to see how well the stuffed berry goes. If I can see that we're still like constantly gaining in kilocalories on the stuffed berry, we can always look to getting more duplicants. Of course, if we do get more duplicants, we are going to have to increase the number of pincher peppers and bristle blossoms that we're growing to keep up with the stuffed berry production. But let's go ahead and set this to like a priority 9. I want to block this off, and I would like them to hopefully use this door here. So is this still a nature reserve? It's not, but I think that's because this has not been built over here. If we go ahead and we build or prioritize the building of these items, the tiles on the door, that should seal this in, and I still don't quite think that that's enough tiles for it to be too big. The nature reserve can be a max size of 120 tiles, which is quite large. And there we go, look at that, nice. And so now they should get a +6 morale boost every time they run through here on their way over to this area. And whilst we are here, we should also go ahead and throw down a storage compactor for our algae. And then, of course, over in the automation tab, we want to have a conveyor rail that goes from here down and over and into what is going to be a conveyor receptacle, like so. And then that should, I believe, place that automatically into the storage compactor. I am going to delete these two, so I don't think we need these right now. All the algae that's in there can be moved down. I'm also going to delete our deoxidizers. I'm going to keep these two here just until we actually get the whole setup up and running. We don't want our base running out of oxygen whilst we're setting this up, but I will bump the priority on these up just a smidge to get them to be done. The same is true for all of the gas pipes here, as well as our vents, and I'll even put a priority 6 build on the statues here, so hopefully they can get built as well. This is kind of one of the reasons why I would like to get... Is he wearing an Atmos suit? He is! Oh my goodness, he can't take it off. We took down the checkpoint whilst he had his suit on, and so when he came back, he never took the suit off. So Stinky now just lives in the Atmos suit. Oh my goodness. Hopefully, as soon as we get a new checkpoint on, at some point he'll walk past it, and then when he walks back again, he will take it off. But I have a feeling that Stinky might just be living in an Atmos suit for like the next 10 to 15 cycles. Oh my goodness. That is insane. But we'll delete these over here so that we can actually build our new checkpoint over on this side. We could even, I think, force that, right? We could click on Stinky and force him to walk through the checkpoint into this area. That's something I might do, actually. So let's bump this up to our priority 7 as well. And let's also bump these to priority 7 also. I don't know if they're going to be able to get all of those built. I think we might have to prioritize this dig here so they actually get to the conveyors here. Same's true for this dig as well, actually. We can dig all this out and get that taken care of. Let's hook everything up to power. So we'll do you. We will do, I guess, like this and this. Specify that we want oxygen to be moved down into the thermoregulator. And then I think for now we're going to have the gas, the other gas, like that's not oxygen, which I think for now is mostly just going to be polluted oxygen, just moved back up to the surface, so like up here where our deodorizers are, so that eventually they'll get turned back into regular oxygen, and then maybe just end up back down here and getting cooled and pumped around the rest of the base. That's the idea, at least. We also dig into here a little bit as well, I guess. We might as well get all of the algae whilst we're in here. Of course, I do want to dig this out and move this down to make a bigger tank for all the water over here at some point in the near future, so digging this out is going to help us get towards that as well. This area over here is now done, and these pipes have been driving me insane for such a long time now. Let's go ahead and delete all of these. We do not need any of these pipes apart from this one. And I'm also thinking about moving this pipe up into the floor here. And I think the way we can do that is simply by putting a liquid pipe along here. I think if we do that, the liquids, I believe, will take the shortest path to their destination. So I'm hoping what will happen is the liquids will come over and then go up into this pipe. Eventually, this pipe will empty itself out, at which point we can clear it. If it doesn't, we could go ahead and like delete the ones either side, empty the middle ones, and then take it all down. It's a little awkward, right? Because although we've got the extract pipe contents action and we can pull the water out of a pipe, as soon as you pull the water out of a pipe, it instantly gets filled up with the water from the pipe behind it. So, and then obviously from the pipe behind that and the pipe behind that. So it doesn't really work as well as I would like, but we can make it work. It's just going to cause a bit of a mess in the short term. I would also like to get rid of this tile here so we can build a bit more foundation. And I think what I'm going to do is just put a door here. Like we'll delete this and we'll put a regular door there so that people can still get to this area here, not just the Draco farm. So we'll do that as well. No rush on the building of that though, at least not just yet. They can still get there just fine with this ladder. Still no power over there. The pipe is blocked. And why is the pipe blocked? Is a good question. I think we're still good on natural gas. We've still got 22 kilograms of natural gas, but I would prefer it if we had more than that. And also, why is power out? Have I accidentally deleted a wire of some sort? I have indeed. Let's go ahead and, I guess, not reconnect that. I guess we'll have this just run across the floor like this because there's no need for this power wire either. So we'll get rid of that as well. That's all looking good. This is actually all almost there now. We'll dig up this tile here real quick just because that is blocking the door there. And then you are going to contain only algae, like so. And did I set this to a higher priority? I did. They've not built it yet, although that could be due to the fact that the person with the skill required to build it is not free at the moment. Maybe they're doing something else. Let's also bump the priority on the power wires up and also on the gas up here as well, like so. Just so that gets done. This is almost ready to go. We do, of course, need a gas bridge like this and this. Oh, no, we don't need a gas bridge, of course. I said I was going to delete the pipes that are there. So let's just like bump the deletion of the nearby pipes so we can get rid of those and then move on here. I am going to set this to like priority 8 so that whoever, I don't know, who is the person in our colony who is capable of doing this? I think it's Bert with mechatronics engineering. It is. Okay, Bert, could you get this done? And also, look at these numbers, man. 32 out of 13. That is a crazy amount of morale there. I think this nature reserve is definitely helping with our duplicate morale. And actually, real quick, before I do that, let's go ahead and schedule the digging of this as well, just to get rid of that slime. Really, I don't want to have the slime around this area anymore, so hopefully we can get rid of that and permanently get rid of the slime lung problem. I'm also going to bump up the priority of these two over here so that we can actually get our new exosuit station down. Good stuff. We'll put you there as well. And then I should still have everything it takes to make these, right? Yeah, so we'll have a checkpoint right about here, facing, of course, the other way, and then we'll have a dock right about there. So no more than one person at a time is going to go through into here, but that's fine. I know a lot of people are going in here right now. Also, for some reason, these are all back on auto-harvest. I would like to disable auto-harvest. You should never be harvesting these millwood seeds. They're for the Dracos only. You don't have to worry about them. Finally, Stinky's going to take off his exosuit. Fantastic. We can go ahead and hook that up to power like so. And thankfully, given that it's close to our pre-existing oxygen setup, we should just be able to do something like this. And whilst we're at it, delete these pipes here as well. Stinky is finally free. That is fantastic. And we also have new skills available. May is just killing it on morale right now. And so I think I might just go ahead and give her improved construction 3. Sure, why not? People are also building paintings, which is great. This looks like it's actually online now, although there is a pipe blocked, and that is because you have a pipe blocked, and that's because this, of course, is not connected. Yes, so, real quick, priority 9, delete these two pipes. I selected the wrong ones earlier, that is fine. And then as soon as that is done, we'll get a priority 9 build on the remaining pipes, and we can hook this up, and we should start to get some nice, cool oxygen into the base, hopefully bringing that temperature down just a little bit, which would be ideal. There we go, that is taken care of. And then priority 9, boom, good stuff. And our stress is rising a little bit. Hassan is up at 7% stress. It could have been to do with hunger, potentially. He did just eat, and so maybe that's the case. We are doing pretty well on stuffed berries. We're up at 13,000 kilocalories now, so we are still gaining in the stuffed berry department, which is good. Our space heater seems to be doing an okay job at keeping the room here above 35 degrees Celsius, which is fantastic. And then this is now working. It is now online, so we can see that the oxygen coming in here is coming in at 27.5, and then the oxygen that is coming out at 15.9. So over 10 degrees cooler on the output there. That is fantastic. And so we should hopefully be able to get rid of these two guys now. And if we check the decor, you can see the decor around here is now much higher, thanks to all the paintings and sculptures that we have. Fantastic. We could even do with maybe putting a painting in here as well, although I'm quite interested in the landscape canvas. We haven't had one of those yet, and I'll put one up there as well. And, you know, we'll throw down a large sculpture right there as well. Things might get a bit crazy, a bit hectic, a bit packed, but it definitely is going to help with the morale of our duplicants, and really, that's all that I'm after right now. And so we should start to see this cooling down quite a bit. We're at 28, 29, but as the cool oxygen is pumped over into here, 28.5, 28.6, hopefully as it comes in 28.4, 29.3, it should overall cool down this area of the base, and as it spreads out to the rest of the base, should cool everything else down. That does remind me, I did want to put airflow tiles up here to allow, you know, air to flow into this room so that Hassan doesn't start, you know, not being able to breathe when he's in here. That might be why he was stressed earlier, actually, now that I think about it. And we should also continue our practice of putting airflow tiles in the floors of pretty much every room, just to make sure that the oxygen can move freely and easily around the base. Like right now, it's not really able to move around these areas too much, and especially with this storage room over here as well. This one is another one that's been pretty low on oxygen in the past, so we'll throw down a few more of these as well. And I think, guys, the base is actually coming on quite nicely here. We've got our new air conditioning, for lack of a better word, over here. We do seem to be running out of power every now and again, which I guess makes sense because this is also hooked up to the same grid that has all of these over here, so it might well be worthwhile trying to separate this grid into two. Like this area here is all on one grid. We do still have a spare transformer. It's mostly going to be a case of trying to figure out where to make the cut and also where to have the next kind of set of wires. There's also the slight problem that I don't think our nature reserve can have machinery in it. And I think the wires might count as industrial machinery, so we can't have just like wires in the room like this. And also, if we try and build those wires into the floor, they're just going to dig that up, dig the plants up, at which point it no longer qualifies as a nature reserve. And so what I think we might have to do here, it's going to look a little janky, but if we do something like this, have a wire bridge, have that continue across like so, potentially have, I was going to say potentially have another wire bridge, but I think it makes a lot more sense to do this, delete this wire, dig out this area here, and then have this wire run up and connect up somewhere else. So let me bump all of the priorities here up and hopefully get that taken care of sooner rather than later. We've got so many delete tasks around the base right now. They've not even managed to get this the pipe built yet, which is indicative of how long it's taking people to get things done. I'm going to hold off on picking a new duplicant just yet. I think we will go ahead and at the start of next episode maybe look into accepting that duplicant. I will, however, allocate new skills here. Mima is ready for new skills. She's now at 26 out of 14 on the morale front. And so I think we will go with the tried and true improved construction there. Can kind of just continuing on where she's already at. We will, of course, build some wall here. And as soon as that last bit of wire is built, we can then go ahead and actually start building this wire as well. So we're going to have this run up. And I think what we'll do is we'll have this kind of come in here and connect up here, at which point I'm going to delete some of these wires. So everything up here is still on one grid, but these items down here are on their separate grid, which is, I think, fine because we've got 120 watts here, followed up by 240, another 120, that's 480. And then, you know, we're closing in on 1,000 watts just with these items here. And so I think that should hopefully keep things online a little longer, although we are still running out of power, which is somewhat baffling to me. The battery itself seems to be doing fine. I do see that we've got an overload warning there. Hopefully, now that we've switched the network, it won't overload as much. Oh, we've not disconnected this yet. Let me bump the priority of that up. That is why it's overloading, because everything is still connected until we get rid of that wire there. But as soon as that wire is gone, the network should hopefully stop overloading. I would also like a priority 8 deletion on that diffuser there. The wire is now gone, and so hopefully these guys are pretty much on all of the time. The only gas being sent up here is indeed polluted oxygen, which is fantastic. These guys are working just fine. I don't know if this is actually holding any algae yet. It is. It's got over 1,000 kilograms of algae, and so it looks like our delivery network is also working just fine. And I say that because it's not, working just fine. It's not working at all. Let me get the conveyor rail here, and let's actually go ahead and priority 9 build this down, and also priority 9 delete this item there. I believe the reason that's working is because it's been done manually, but ideally, our auto sweeper here should be able to make this happen on a much more automatic basis. Power is once again down, but only for the new area, and that's because they haven't built this yet. So let's get this going as well. Priority 8. That might be causing a bit of an issue with our reservoir. We are still losing natural gas, but not so much so. I do love these artwork pieces here. These are super cool. They weren't in the game last time I played, so I've only seen these pieces of artwork, but these are cool. I like this. Frankie does have slime lung. That's to be expected. We do have a fair bit of slime lung in the base, which is not great. We will deliver an Atmos suit to that checkpoint there so people can actually use it. This side of the base is all online again, which is fantastic. And how are we doing temperature-wise by our output here? So still at 28.5. I think it's going to be a slow and gradual change in temperature. What is the temperature of the gas by the time it makes it here? It's already back up at 28. I guess, actually, what I should do is use insulated pipe. In that case, can I replace pre-existing pipe with insulated pipe? I think I can. So let's go ahead and replace all of this pipe with insulated pipe, because right now it's kind of defeating the purpose not having insulated pipe, because the temperature is rising up to 28 degrees before it even gets to the vent. And so hopefully by making some insulated pipe here, we'll be able to keep that gas as cool as possible as it travels up and around to these gas vents. Okay, so that is now all up and running, and so we should hopefully see a more consistent temperature throughout here. Some of this gas I think is still there from the previous piping, so we'll give it a second here, but hopefully pretty soon we should start to see oxygen up here. Yeah, look at that. So now the oxygen that's here is 17 degrees. It's coming out at 15. It's rising in temperature just a little bit as it gets over here, but coming out at 17 is much, much better than coming out at 28. And so now we should hopefully start to see, yeah, look at that, 25.9, 26. It's coming down much, much faster than it was previously. And that should hopefully, as time goes on, cool down this whole area around here, whilst also providing the base with a nice, consistent source of oxygen, which is fantastic. Stress starting to rise again a little bit, but overall, looking at the episode as a whole, is down tremendously. We started at like 40% stress, so that is doing very good indeed. I'll go with improved strength again here. We could go with improved construction 3 or even rocket piloting now, because he does have enough morale, but I have noticed that the morale is fluctuating a little bit, so I don't want to push my luck too much just yet. We'll stick with tidying there for now. But I think, guys, that is a pretty good point to wrap up today's episode. Next time we'll come back, we'll look at potentially getting a 9th, even a 10th duplicate. I still do want to get plastic. Of course, we don't have any plastic just yet, and so I think next episode we'll come back and we'll look at putting our new exosuit area over here, and we'll look at digging down and trying to find some oil, getting ourselves a refinery so we can turn that oil into petroleum, and then getting a polymer press so we can actually start turning that petroleum into plastic. But again, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please hit like. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new here to get notified as soon as new videos come out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.